have some technical troubles with the stream, and I have to divide my broadcasting into two parts, but I don't think it will be really a problem because all you want to see in my first part was really interesting, and I think as well we will continue our next time. So I stopped on the moment when I explained why I can speak about this topic of mental differences for hours, but really I think that really a good time for broadcasting is 45 minutes, not more, because people have live attention only for 45 minutes. This proved by medicals and so on. So, differ in nations, in mentalities, and influence on the couple's life really is a big impact. First of all, we have to notice that we have to understand the cultures and the deep differences which connected on financial, on home domestic level, and also on linguistic sphere and so on. First of all, we are speaking about the couples. Whereas the problem of language was really low, because just 2% of my focus group was the woman without any language knowledge, and it was not a real problem for the men, believe me. But anyway, linguistic barriers or something like this, linguistic problems, are not the mostly moment, but also if we speak about cultural sphere, it can be influenced by, because different cultures, different upbringing really have the straight correlation between these troubles. And when people understand that they want to together, sometimes they don't understand the problems which will be connected with their different cultural fields they are growing up. So they have different problems when they don't know what to speak about in their free time. Okay, after their, for example, their domestic living doesn't consist only on generic communication, and they also have to say to have the same topics for discussing of books, movies, music, and so on. And they don't have common topics because they were growing up in different societies, in different cultural fields, where they didn't understand at all the jokes of the partner, the movies of the partner he or she loves at, and so on. Really, there is a big problem and big challenge for the couple to live. Also, the challenge of last years is in the absence of cultural field. Just think about that. Modern generation without cultural field, cultural basis, nowadays creating new families. And we, when we want, like psychologists, ethnic psychologists, to solve the problems by joining all these cultural fields, we understand that we have not to join together because we didn't have their empty. And also, we have to understand the problem that people can grow up in different cultural spheres, but they can live in the same social field. And we understood this by researching of couples, for example, from Germany, because Germany has two different situations. If we speak about GDR, for example, and we speak about GDR like something like the model of USSR, and we can understand that people really lived in almost the same societies. So women from our surroundings and men from GDR were easily finding connection between themselves and were much more easily connected because they really felt that they grew up in the same society and they can have different jokes, but also with the same sense, and the things they were looking up in their childhood, the social systems are the same, almost the same, and that is why they really can have the common speech with each other. And it was a very good situation in comparison with such people from western part of Germany, because it was completely another country and people, another growing up system and another social society. So women had more troubles with them because they have completely different cultural skills. Speaking about cultures and religion, background also should be different, because religious difference also can be the special moment, and if religious are common a little bit and have some peculiarities, it is also can be problem which can be discussed and also researched. You were speaking about also traditions of different countries and compare it with the modern situation. We have to speak about the problem of economical and social field, where the men don't know what to do with such a thing, as they already searching for our women in our country. They already have one divorce, but they have one more divorce. They already decided that they have financial troubles, given 50%, for example Germany or Italy. They have to shoot to do all their best to support their wife, even former wife, for the end of the life. And there are some even shelters for the men in Italy stayed without anything. So they stayed without even a car, without even a home which they can live and spend night at, and so on. Because really the traditions of social defense are really very high, and the social standards of social defense are really very high. And man from Italy, from Germany, for example, decides to marry a woman from Ukraine. In comparison with Italian and German women, for sure, they can see much more advantage in domestic, in maybe emotional sense, because really our women still stays the domestic a little bit in comparison with Western emancipated women. They still stayed feminine and so on, as for the words of our clients said. And also we decided how to do with the couple, how to organize the couple. They propose their partnership, but partnership isn't mean defense of our women, because our women want to have a real official marriage, but in the problem field of this man who already had one divorce and he gave 50%, or like man in Italy stayed without anything. For him it's a really big trouble, and to decide to marry for another time and to give again 50% is a big financial risk. So this is a problem. This is a problem that appeared to be in the relationship of couples. And also our women complain for that moment, because they discussed and they understand that they have really the problem which can the social experience, like in USSR, also connected with the modern problems of the economical growing field and so on. So in our cross-cultural international, I had to say, consultation, we have to learn so many aspects. We have to understand deeply history of the countries we consulted. We have to understand geography deeply, and determination of geography, geographical determination of couples and their mentality development. We have to understand also the way how couples they think and how they behave from a generic psychology and differences into gender, but we have to understand the differences in gender which are existent in all the couples, all the type of couples, also will be deeply developed because of the mentality reasons of the mentality difference, and mentality difference will influence more than even just simply generic difference between couples, between men and women. First of all, I would like to say that our couples in children upbringing also have differences and different points of view. Also, can be a point of conflict. Also, they apply for how to deal with a child from another growing field, how to deal with a not mine child growing up in another cultural society, how to deal with common children, because common children really can be different variants. First of all, it can be variant than the children from different joining together different ethnic, cultural, mental, genetics can be also very highly developed and very interesting person, but it can be another situation. Then the child has many diseases also. Now we are trying to research this time, because with this problem we have to deal for the further time, because it is really very interesting field for discussion. Then I have to say that our couples really are very interested in their communicational decisions when they try to go to psychologists and they apply to. The thing is that in our mentality, psychological work still has some stereotypes, and our women had really some problems to apply to our psychologists, because they don't know if really the help will be useful. But in Europe, for example, in USA, in some other countries, this problem already stopped to exist, because people really understand we have to deal with this. We have to go to psychologists and decide this problem. Sometimes it is a different thing for the couple, and very interesting to observe. Ethnic psychologists will observe for it from our side, with a partner from our side, I mean women, but it is much more easy to deal with the partner from international couple from the side of abroad, because they already have the culture and tradition to trust to the partner, but trust to the consultant, trust to psychologist, and they are ready to hear, to listen. Sometimes it can be really a problem to explain some things to our partner from other side. Surprising, but really that's the practical issue, and I can say that this practical issue really is the big field for learning and for discussion in the field of ethnic psychologists. Ethnic psychologists, first of all, should learn international language, I mean English or French or German, better to know some languages, because several languages is the best situation. And for psychologists from linguistic universities, they have the program preparation into a field of international, I mean languages, and psychology as a science really have the big advantage here and have really the field. I have to say that ethnic psychologist is a profession created for them. Really, I have to say that it is constant scientific research and constant scientific deep work which differentiate from real psychologist work. Here you can't only learn some method in psychology and know that I have some method, I work in some sphere and some methodology. You have to learn many things more than and more deeply than usual psychological consultation is. As the couples who try to find their way to have the induction process and the adaptational process in their country really has the problem of exception in these societies. All our women have to say that really in the international society they have not good experience, then they are not accepted like the real equal people, equal partner in their sphere. Especially we speak about older generation. Younger generation already more flexible and we don't have this problem, but if you go, for example, to some cafe or something shop in the small city of Germany or France, for example, you can see that this old woman looks at you like on the wall, and really she understands that you are nobody. You are like not the first and equal person, you are second and something like this. So you are not equal there, and it is evident, and they feel it. They feel it and they say about it every time. They complain about this problem of exception. Exception can't be fully and totally, even if you are professional of a very high level, and this is the problem which we had from complaints of our women of my focus group who really made a really brilliant career, and they always complained for some kind of reaction from, for example, from Turkey and Turkish women for them and so on. So it is really the something like ideal situation when you understand that if I go abroad, I will not have any problem. If we speak even about classical literature and movies, we can have many examples in there. This problem already appeared and already was shown, because we can speak about Petr Todorovsky movie, very interesting movie, which is called Intro Девочка. You can see it in the internet. It is a very popular movie in which the situation of relationship between our woman and the Swedish man really was described in a very good way. We can hear all the problems in this movie about guests inviting, about different situation, about money attitude, how to deal with the home, housekeeping, householding duties, and so on. And this is the situation there. Women understood that nothing ends in the best way there, only starts. And they start the problems from this side, from this point when they came language, and they respect their language. French language, Italian, Spanish, and so on. That is why it is not the right decision for all the stories to end. First of all, you have to apply to psychologist if you feel that you can't cope with this problem, and you understand that really the way to decide not between together and to see from another side, because the side of psychologist is really included into your couple, but objectively. You can't think that women or men can think that psychologists on somebody's side. It's absolutely objectively, and we are listening to our partners, and we want to look through all the story of life and to know more about their families, their traditions, their bringing, their history, geographical position, and how they deal with their everyday problems, professions, financial sphere, and so on. So very deep things which are included into consultation. This kind of consultation is very deep. These consultations have to deal with a professional, real professional, and also you have to understand that it is absolutely confidential on international level. Even if you can say that you have some meetings and appointments from some applications which are not approved by social, also this is a confidential information and stays between you and psychologist, so don't be afraid to tell me about that. Because really sometimes there are some situations when the man try to build family with the women from different sides and different appointment application and so on, and then there is a surprise that really very different views on the creation of family and so on. So don't be afraid to tell about that from the very beginning, for a story from the very beginning. Nowadays the huge amount of allow us to do the choice and to make appointment. It is not already the problem how to get acquainted with somebody. The most important problem starts after, when they already had appointments, then had already relationship, then had marriage. And after that really starts the interesting thing, when all mentalities and cultural fields try to stay together and try to organize the common surrounding. On this time, all my couples in which I deal with for now had some specifics which were common for each couple, but also the specifics was the different. I repeat that it is closely connected with the religious, the ethnic, with the cultural, inside cultural of the family upbringing and so on, experience. For me, first of all, the most important idea to explain to my clients how to deal with the problem when you have already appeared inside. And for the way, the time, and some consultations really have the time session for 5 till 10 meetings, and sometimes we can continue by support after consultations, post-consultational help and so on. For me, I'm ready to be with the couple for all the period they need to be. If it is important to have the induction process on the territory of Ukraine, on the territory of another country, it is also the big deal, and it is not a problem to help with. Nowadays, the researches in this field can't be underestimated, because today you can see all the day, all the time on the streets, the more and more international couples appearing. For example, me last days when I went on the street of Bogdan Khmelnytsky in the center of Kiev, just 3 or 4 couples on my way. I was meeting just for 10 minutes. And you can see in the center of the city especially, and not only, we have also on the districts of Kiev every time, every way, especially now, dealing with migrational, new migrational programs. We will see that the quantity of our international couples will be growing up increasingly, and it will be the real progression, because you will see the couples and the international couples with the children, and you will see that they really will have the troubles of adaptational process here and adaptation between themselves. So nowadays, this is the problem which we can see like the most modern and the most interesting for further researches and further practice. From practical side, psychologists have to pay attention to this problem and try to help these couples, because we support international surrounding and international environment here during all our programs. And our programs which we have on economical and political level, we support each other. And also it is the integrational progress, international process, and we can deal with it very successfully. So if you have the possibility, if you are a psychologist, to help, you can raise your qualification and to get prepared to be the ethnic psychologist, interethnic psychologist, and try to organize your consultations of international couples, because believe me, the challenges of this work and the requirements nowadays are very high. For the last year I had many requirements, and I'm still getting in. For me today, this work is one of the most interesting projects of mine, and I deal with it regularly. I have regular consultations, and I would say that I will continue them. And if you know some international couples in your surrounding, if you already stay in relationship with international partner, you can be free to apply to me and to have some classes, to have consultations, to speak with me for any topic and ask me all the questions you can ask here in my stream exactly, and in messages or in comments under my stream. Sometimes I make streams on this topic, and sometimes I will going to do streams in English for you, for international couples in my international surrounding in my Facebook, because really I see that when I do Russian streams, maybe sometimes some information can be lost for you, and for me it's much more important now that you can hear me. So you can be free to apply, you can be free to ask all the questions to me, and I am going to understand and to give you the necessary help. Also for psychologists who are interested into the subject, how to do it, how to develop themselves from the point of view of ethnic psychology, I also can make consultations and make help how to do this. So I think that the most important topics for today in my 2 parts of stream, sorry for 2 parts because I understand that technical troubles, but you can see my first part and then the second part, and to see the differences in mentalities and problems of cultural couples are real, and they can't be underestimated nowadays. There is no doubt that these couples will be increasingly growing. Problems also will be increasingly growing, unfortunately, and all the couples from this society can already have the possibility to be helped, can be organized into the consultational process. So I want to say a big thank you for all the rest and for all who was involved in the streaming process, for all who decided to be with me this evening from my international side and from the side of my Ukrainian or Russian friends and subscribers from Facebook society. Thank you very much for staying with me this Sunday evening. I'm going to make streams furthermore, but please try to give me the topics, because for the rest of time I will not have the possibility to do it regularly, but sometimes from your requests I will be doing that. So please give me the topics on which I have to do the streams, and I will be streaming for you. Thank you very much again. Have a good evening, have a good end of weekend, and see you on my streams again. Thank you very much.